efforts in building a moderately prosperous society.
To
release the white paper on China's epic journey from poverty to prosperity. Our spokespeople will give you a briefing on this white paper. We are very happy to have with us Mr. Xu Lin, Vice Minister of the Publicity Department of the CPC Central Committee and Minister of the State Council Information Office, Mr. Ning Jizhe, Vice Chairman of National Development and Reform Commission and Commissioner of National Bureau of Statistics, Mr. Liu Guanxing, Vice Minister of Agriculture and Rural Affairs, and Mr. Zhao Chenxing, Secretary General of National Development and Reform Commission. Now some opening remarks from Mr. Xu Lin. Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the press, good morning. On July the 1st, at the ceremony marking the centenary of the founding of the CPC, General Secretary Xi Jinping announced that thanks to the hard work of the whole party, the whole country, and people of all ethnic groups, we have achieved the first centenary goal and fully completed the building of a moderately prosperous society. Today, the State Council Information Office is releasing this white paper on China's epic journey from poverty to prosperity. The white paper reviews the extraordinary journey to build the moderately prosperous society in China. It introduces the great achievements in this process. It also covers the bright prospects of China's modernization. It is an important document that records and reflects China's exploration of the building of a moderately prosperous society. The white paper includes 3 parts, namely preface, main body, and conclusion. There are totally 32,000 words. In the main body, there are 5 sections, namely a critical step toward national rejuvenation, prosperity through all-round development, prosperity for all, prosperity through hard work, and the world benefits from China's prosperity. Totally, there are 5 sections, in which we give a systemic account of what China's all-round moderate prosperity is and how it has been achieved. Number 1, completing the building of a moderately prosperous society marks a key step toward the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Moderate prosperity has been a long-cherished dream of the Chinese nation. As early as 2,000 years ago, the Chinese people recorded their pursuit of a moderately prosperous life in the Book of Songs and the Book of Rites. Since the founding of the CPC, it has been committed to pursuing the happiness of the Chinese people and the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. It has been working hard to make the lives better for our people. In the white paper, it covers how the CPC has led the people to do hard work to create a better life. From a moderately prosperous family to a moderately prosperous society. From overall moderate prosperity to all-round moderate prosperity. And to fully building, to complete the building of a moderately prosperous society. In this process, we have continued to achieve our objectives of moderate prosperity. In the white paper, it also talks about how, in the new era, General Secretary Xi Jinping has personally designed, directed, and promoted the development of a moderately prosperous society, and how General Secretary Xi has led the whole party and the whole people to fight poverty, promote reform, fight epidemic, control pollution, and address various risks. In this process, the party and the country have secured historic changes and achievements, and we have achieved the moderately prosperous society as scheduled, which marks a key step in promoting the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. In the white paper, it is pointed out that completing the building of a moderately prosperous society has greatly boosted the confidence and sense of pride of the Chinese nation. Number 2, all-round moderate prosperity means development across the board. And such a result has not come easily. As we build a moderately prosperous society, we have focused on ensuring balanced, coordinated, and sustainable development. We have also promoted economic, political, cultural, social, and ecological advancement at the same time. We have worked hard to meet people's increasingly diverse and multi-tiered needs, continue to promote people's all-round development, and in this way, we have secured the prosperity of the country, rejuvenation of the nation, and happiness of the people. The white paper covers sustained economic development, expanding people's democracy, prosperous culture, improvement in people's well-being, and historic changes of our eco-environment. It uses a lot of data and facts to depict the outlook of a moderately prosperous society. It covers both material and cultural aspects. It covers both individual and national and social aspects. It also covers both tangible and intangible aspects. And in this way, the white paper demonstrates the all-round development of our moderately prosperous society. Number 3, our all-round moderate prosperity is for all people. People's well-being is the foundation of our moderately prosperous society. We have all along taken a people-centered approach. I work hard to ensure that all our people can share in the benefits of the development. We have made sure that no one, no region, or no ethnic group will be left behind. Moderate prosperity must cover every corner of our landmass. It must cover all the 56 ethnic groups and 1.4 billion Chinese people. The white paper covers the moderately prosperous life of all people in all regions. It talks about how China has won the battle against poverty in the new era, and the poor population have enjoyed a moderately prosperous life together with other people. It also covers integrated urban-rural development, coordinated regional development, with each region fully tapping its own strength and complementing each other. The White Paper points out that China's all-round moderate prosperity reveals how we have ensured both individuals' all-round development and the development of the entire population. It also meets the needs of achieving common prosperity, which is an inherent need of socialism. Number 4, our all-round moderate prosperity has been achieved through hard work. China has over 1.4 billion people. It is the biggest developing country in the world. For a major country like China, good life cannot come easily. We must make hard work to achieve a better life. The CPC has rallied and led the Chinese people to start from the scratch. And through very hard work, we have created bright prospects and achieved the long-cherished dream of moderate prosperity. The White Paper covers people's commitment, well-conceived plan, hard work, and sustained efforts. It shows how we have adopted a people-centered approach to formulate sound lines and policies, and how we have advanced development through reform and opening up through generations of people. The White Paper talks about the highly extraordinary journey of our efforts. It is pointed out that China's all-round moderate prosperity has been achieved through the painstaking efforts of the Chinese people. The good life has been created by the people, and the epic of moderate prosperity has been written by the people. It is stressed in the White Paper that the CPC's leadership is the foundation for completing the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects. Without the party's leadership, all-round moderate prosperity would not be achieved. Number 5. As we complete the building of a moderately prosperous society, China has also contributed to the whole world. We are aware that a better world makes China even better, and a better China makes the world even better. The Chinese people and China, which have enjoyed great development, have enjoyed positive energy to world peace and common development. It is pointed out in the White Paper that China's moderate prosperity has made the country even stronger and more prosperous, and have made the people even happier. And this in itself means a huge contribution to world peace and development. And in this way, China has, through its efforts, significantly narrowed and reduced the poor population in the world and explored a new pathway to modernization. It is stressed in the White Paper that going forward, China will continue to be open and inclusive, get better integrated into the world, and make even greater contribution to building a community with a shared future for mankind and building a better world. Moderate prosperity in China means we have achieved a temporary objective in our modernization. It also means a key step in the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Meanwhile, we still face uneven and inadequate development. In this context, China will bear in mind the new development stage, implement the new development philosophy, and build the new development paradigm, and we will promote all-round development of individuals through high-quality development, and we will continue to make substantive progress in achieving common prosperity of all the people. It is pointed out in the white paper that with the strong leadership of the CPC, with the unity of the Chinese people, and with the joint efforts of the Chinese people, both at home and abroad, China will become a strong modern socialist country, and the Chinese people will lead an even better life, and the Chinese nation will make even greater contribution to the development and progress of humanity. These are my opening remarks. Thank you. Thank you for your opening remarks. Now the floor is open. Please identify your media affiliations before raising the questions. Thank you. With CGTN, the keyword of the white paper means all-round moderate prosperity. What is the definition of it? Are there any specific indicators of it? You also said that people's well-being is vital for moderate prosperity. My question is, will people's living standard continue to improve? Thank you.
Let me take your question. Thank you for that question. It's a succinct one, but insightful. What exactly does moderate prosperity mean? What is the indicators and criteria? What are the changes in people's livelihood? I will talk about this from these three perspectives. First, on defining the moderate prosperity in all respects. The very first sentence in the white paper, as Vice Minister Xu pointed out, that moderate prosperity is a dream of the millennium. Over the past 100 years, the CPC has rallied and led the Chinese people in an arduous journey marked by sustained efforts to move from moderate prosperity for households to moderate prosperity for the entire society, from overall moderate prosperity to moderate prosperity in all respects, from building to securing moderate prosperity in all respects. Since the 18th National Congress, CPC National Congress, CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core has put first and foremost in China's governance the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects. Efforts are made to promote the five-sphere integrated plan, the four-pronged comprehensive strategy. Focus has been given to shoring up weak links and calibrated efforts taken to crack the hard nuts. I think comprehensive, or in all respects, means that we need to cover all social groups. It must be a broad-based prosperity. We need to cover all the regions. It must be a prosperity for both urban and rural areas. Moderate prosperity requires us to address the weak links that might slow down our progress. We need to ensure there is balanced, coordinated, and sustainable development. If you delve into the white paper, you can have a better understanding of it. The second question on indicators and criteria. The 18th CPC National Congress put forth the first centenary goal and set the goal to build a moderately prosperous society in all respects, namely sustained and sound growth, greater democracy for the people, stronger soft power, better living conditions and environmentally friendly society. The 19th CPC National Congress, having assessed the conditions and factors affecting our progress, have decided or made a plan to secure the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects and usher in a new journey to build a modern socialist country. General Secretary Xi Jinping himself guided, directs, and promotes the building. We have combated the virus, fought poverty, advanced reforms, and diffused risks. We have solved problems that should have been solved long ago. We have made unprecedented achievements. The historic progress, historic transformations are for all to see. Our people are having a greater sense of accomplishment, happiness, and security. In particular, we have, for the first time in history, eliminated absolute poverty, which is one of the most important tasks in our efforts to build a prosperous society. I would say this is an indicator, an important one. The third question is on people's welfare. Prosperity requires us to put people and their livelihood first. With a commitment to people-centered development, the CPC has dedicated itself to improving people's livelihoods as part of our efforts to build a moderately prosperous society in all respects. Let me give you a few numbers. In 1978, disposable income per person was 171 RMB yuan. That figure rose to 32,189 in 2020. That is a tremendous improvement. The angle coefficient dropped from 57.5 to 29.2% and from 67.7% to 32.7%. As people's basic needs are being met, they have greater aspiration for the quality of life, which means that daily consumption is being upgraded, the structure of consumption is improved from one driven by survival to one by improvement of livelihood. People or households have access to home appliances, automobiles, etc. Service-based consumption, such as catering, health, education, tourism, are rising rapidly. Public services, including employment, education, social security, public health services, and social governance, are improving. There are extensive figures and examples to corroborate such changes. That is all from me. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you. From Bloomberg. How big is the problem of rich and poor gap? How will China control and narrow this gap? What are the new arrangements in tax policy?
Let me take this question, which is a very important one. As we complete the building of a moderately prosperous society, we have continued to address poverty. And in this process, people are living an increasingly prosperous life. Since the 18th Party Congress, China's economic development has been sustained, and people's income distribution has continued to improve. Having said that, we are still facing some income gap challenges. Still, according to relevant figures of the National Bureau of Statistics, the income gap among the population, the urban-rural income gap, and regional income gap have continued to narrow. Number one, the rural-urban income gap has continued to narrow. As the government continues to fight poverty and promote agricultural and rural development, rural residents have seen a faster growth in their income than the urban residents, and the gap has continued to narrow. From 2011 to 2020, the disposable income of rural residents grew by 10.6%, not 1.8 percentage points higher than urban residents. If we look at the proportion of urban-rural income, then we can tell that the proportion or the gap continued to reduce. The proportion reduced from 2.99 in 2010 to 2.56 in 2020, and a total reduction of 0.43. In 2020, the proportion of urban-rural income decreased by 0.08 from 2019, and last year saw the fastest drop in the proportion of urban-rural income. Number two, regional income gap continued to narrow. China has adopted coordinated regional development plan, and in this process, the regional income gap has narrowed. From 2011 to 2020, the gap between highest and lowest income provinces continued to decrease, and the income proportion reduced from 4.62 in 2011, which is the proportion between Shanghai and Xizang residents, to 3.55 in 2020, which is the proportion between Shanghai and Gansu residents. And the level in 2020 marked the lowest one since in the 21st century. In 2020, the proportion of eastern, central, and northeast China to west China saw an income proportion of 1.62, 1.07, and 1.11 respectively, falling 0.08, 0.03, and 0.18 respectively from 23. Number three, the income gap between resident groups continued to narrow. Gini coefficient is an important indicator of the wealth gap. The World Bank uses Gini coefficient as an important measure to indicate the wealth gap in different countries. In the past 10 years, the Gini coefficient has saw a decrease. In 2008, the Gini coefficient in China peaked at a figure of 0.491. And starting from 2003, the coefficient gradually decreased. In 2020, the figure was 0.468. We have also strengthened income distribution among different people. During the 13th five-year plan period, the net income of the population was increased by 10%, which was faster than the nominal growth of people's wages. And according to the World Bank, China's Gini coefficient also saw a decrease. And Gini coefficient based on people's consumption reflects people's improvement of their lives. Number 4, we have provided more equitable access for the people to the basic services. The government's public services are also an important indicator or criteria to judge the performance of a society. As we build a moderately prosperous society across the board, different local governments have ensured equitable access to public services and improved the multi-tiered social security system. As things stand, China has built the world's biggest social safety net. Our healthcare covers over 1.35 billion people, and elderly care covers over 1 billion people. The housing supports have continued to strengthen. Across the country, we have built various kinds of comfortable lives for the people, totally 80 million units of such housing, and helping over 200 million Chinese people improve their living standards in terms of housing. In terms of education, over 95% of the people enjoy compulsory education. Basic health care have also strengthened. Our spending on health care was about 1.9 trillion yuan. And our people have also seen an increase of their income according to their labor. At the same time, some of the income did not come to the family or households, but has been provided to the people through public services. China is a socialist country, and we have done a lot of work to improve public services. During the 14th five-year plan, we will continue to control and narrow the wealth gap. We need to make the pie even bigger and better distribute the pie. We need to continue to give priority to development, and through growing our economy, create more jobs. We will increase people's income. Meanwhile, we will also uphold labor-based distribution together with other forms of distribution. We will increase the share of labor income in primary distribution and improve the reasonable growth mechanism of wages, and improve the wages for low-income group, expand the middle-income group. We will also improve the production factor-based policy and increase the policy factor-based income for medium and low-income groups. We will also strengthen the redistribution system and better leverage taxes, social security, and transfer payment and other mechanisms. We will also better leverage tertiary distribution and develop charity sector. We will better strengthen the structure of primary distribution, redistribution, and tertiary redistribution. In this way, we will promote social equity and justice, and promote people's all-round development, and ensure common prosperity. You talk about tax policies in your question. Indeed, tax policy can play an important role in primary distribution, redistribution, or tertiary distribution. We need to better leverage tax policies in this regard. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you. With Phoenix TV. At the end of 2020, China completed the task of poverty reduction at the end of last year, and China has completed the building of a moderately prosperous society this year. And what is the relationship between poverty reduction, moderate prosperity, and common prosperity? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Delivering better lives for the Chinese people is the goal of the CPC. For the past century, generations of CPC members have made strenuous efforts to achieve that goal. Poverty alleviation, moderate prosperity, and common prosperity, these three concepts are built into the extraordinary journey of strenuous efforts made by the Chinese people under the leadership of the CPC. It shows that socialist modernization is both consistent and at the same time requires staged or temporary progress. It also shows that we are deepening our understanding on poverty and wealth, or namely the wealth gap. I would say that these three concepts are interconnected. Poverty alleviation, moderate prosperity, and common prosperity are the goals and tasks put forth by the CPC with a view to the changing realities and people's expectations. All these are part of the great endeavor of the building of socialism with Chinese characteristics. They are part of the trailblazing efforts of modernization drive in China, and they are also part of the noble cause of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. To be more specific, all three demonstrates that the CPC takes serve the people as its fundamental goal. Its original aspiration is to bring or deliver happy lives for the people and achieve national rejuvenation. All three aim at promoting all-round development of people, meet people's expectations for a better life. All three of them stress the importance of balanced, coordinated, and sustainable development. No one should be left behind. And thirdly, I would say that the achievement of these three goals requires the leadership of the CPC, a commitment to socialism with Chinese characteristics, and a commitment to harness the advantages of socialism with Chinese characteristics. These three are also of different focuses. In terms of characteristics, they have different substances, which are being fleshed out. Poverty alleviation aims at eliminating absolute poverty. Moderate prosperity requires coordinated development of the economic, political, cultural, social, and ecological growth, so that people's lives can be better. Common prosperity means that there should be material and cultural wealth at the same time, so that there will be all-round development for not just the people, but also the entire society. Poverty alleviation is of fundamental importance for the goal to build moderate prosperity. Only by winning the battle against poverty can we ensure the quality of prosperity. Moderate prosperity is also an important foundation for common prosperity. Moderate prosperity lays a solid foundation for the goal of common prosperity, whereas common prosperity is an important way to consolidate poverty alleviation and moderate prosperity. All three combined can demonstrate the advantages of socialism with Chinese characteristics. Despite our progress in achieving moderate prosperity, we are still witnessing unbalanced and inadequate growth. We will continue to work on the weak links, shift from poverty alleviation to rural revitalization, promote all-round development of the people in the process of achieving high-quality development, and also achieve common prosperity. Thank you. Next question. Thank you. Over the years, we feel that there have been changes, massive changes in our lives. But we also heard sayings that the people are facing difficulties in education, health, pension, and housing. How will you solve these problems? Thank you.
Let me take this question. Thank you for your question. I think your question is very important. Our people indeed are facing some troubles in their daily lives. And how can we address their problems? The CPC has all along given top priority to improving people's lives. We have continued to work hard to address the problems concerning people's livelihood. The 1.4 billion Chinese people have started to lead a good life, which has been a millennia dream. We have effectively ensured our rights to subsistence and development, and we have ensured sound childcare, education, jobs, healthcare, elderly care, housing, and support for the vulnerable groups. Meanwhile, there is always room for improvement in ensuring people's livelihood. It requires continued and sustained efforts. You mentioned in your question that our people are still facing some troubles in education, healthcare, and elderly care. We are carefully studying our people's difficulties, and we are aware that these difficulties mainly concern the quality of our public services. As people's basic needs have been properly met, people desire an even better quality of the public services. These are the growing pains in the new stage of development. As we have completed the building of a moderately prosperous society, we are facing changes concerning people's need. Our people want an even better life. Our people hope to see steady increase of their income, better quality healthcare services, fair education, and improvement of their housing. At the new development stage, we need to better adapt to the new changes of people's needs and continue to adopt a people-centered development philosophy. We need to bear in mind people's needs and concerns and make every effort within our capacity to improve people's living standards and further improve the quality of the public services. In the next 5 years, we will take the initiative to adapt to people's needs for even better life, and focus on the livelihood difficulties that people are most concerned about. We will properly define the scope of basic and non-basic public services. We will continue to provide equitable access to basic public services and expand the supply of non-basic public services through various means. We will also mobilize the resources of the government, the society, the market, and our people themselves. In this way, we will pool the efforts to solve the problems. And our objective is to further improve the quality of child care, education, employment, health care, elderly care, housing, and support for the vulnerable groups. We will improve the quality in this process. For the next stage, we will focus on two aspects. Number one, the government will continue to meet people's basic needs and promote equity in public services. We will focus on people's basic living needs and take solid steps to perform the basic public services responsibilities at various levels of government. We will continue to increase inputs, continue to improve the standards, and upgrade the efficiency of resource allocation. And we will work to ensure that all our people can enjoy fair and accessible basic public services and ensure people's basic needs can be met. Meanwhile, we will expand supplies through various means. Through the government's efforts, we will leverage the resources of public institutions, social organizations, and SOEs to participate in the supply of non-basic public services. In this way, we will better enrich the types of services, reduce the cost. And in this way, we will ensure that people can pay affordable prices to enjoy better and more safe and secure non-basic public services. And in this way, our people can better enjoy these non-basic public services. Through the efforts in these two aspects, i.e. basic and non-basic public services, we will clearly define the mandates and use the limited physical resources in the fields and areas that are most urgently needed by the people. And we will also mobilize more social resources into the public services. In this way, we will efficiently and effectively address people's needs and meet people's increasing need for a better life. And we will ensure that people's living standard will continue to improve together with our economic growth, and all the people can enjoy a better life. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you. With Xinhua News Agency, we are aware that rural residents are very important in our building of a moderately prosperous society. Rural revitalization is a key task. What progress has been made and what measures will be adopted to increase the rural residents' incomes? Thank you.
Thank you for your interest in rural development. Rural revitalization is a significant plan made at the 19th CPC National Congress with a view to advancing the two centenary goals. Over the years, important progress has been made. First, harvests in food production. For 6 years in a row, food production or grain production have steadied at 1.3 trillion grams, an unprecedented 17-year harvest. This year, grains and rice production has also increased. Hog production has been resumed. The Chinese people, the basic needs of the Chinese people can be met. Second, rural modernization or agricultural modernization have developed by leaps and bounds. We have built 800 million mu of high-quality farmland with high and stable production regardless of weather conditions. E-commerce and tourism in rural areas are also developing rapidly. Poverty alleviation has been advanced. Close to 100 million poor people in rural areas are lifted out of poverty. We have also established a monitoring and paired-up assistance mechanism to take targeted and well-adjusted measures to ensure that no people will return to poverty. Fourth, we are advancing rural development in terms of infrastructure. 4G internet. Villages have access to 4G internet, asphalt roads, and power. We've established social security systems on pensions and healthcare. We are also improving the governance in rural areas. The party committees at the village level are taking measures to build a self-governance based on meritocracy and the rule of law. Systems, point system, list system, and a governance driven by the growth of digital economy have sprung up in rural areas. We are also working to remove outdated practices in rural areas. However, we are still seeing unbalanced and inadequate development. Rural areas in particular, over the years, we are seeing a narrower gap between rural and urban income. However, the gap is still relatively big. Common prosperity in both rural and urban areas is still a tall order. We are already improving our policy support, improving the income for low-income groups, so that no one will be left behind in our process to achieve common prosperity. There are 4 steps. First, industrial revitalization. It is an important step. Now, income from operation account for around 1/3 of their total income. We need to improve the development of agricultural industry. We need to generate more income by strengthening the industrial chain, by lowering costs, and by expanding the market. On one hand, we need to implement fiscal, financial, land, and talent policies in order to ensure that people from rural areas are able to find jobs in nearby regions. We also need to encourage innovation-driven entrepreneurship-driven employment, and employment-driven income growth. Third, we need to deepen reforms. There are a great deal of resources in rural areas. We need to reform on that. Fourth, we need to give greater policy support redistribution is an important part. We need to focus on two groups. One, the small-scale households. We need to strengthen support for them, give them subsidies on time, and secondly, low-income households. We need to establish a paired-up assistance mechanism and provide social security net so as to ensure that they will not return to poverty. Next question, please.
CNBC 记者提问，我的问题是中
My
国
question
的
from
一线
CNBC.
城
My
市
question
发
is,
展还存在哪些不
what are
足
the
之处？
insufficiencies in the growth of
比
top-tier
如在
cities
养
in
老、
China?
社会保障
For instance,
等地方
pension, social
一线
security,
城市
etc.
未来的发展方
What
向
are
和重点是什么？
The top priorities in the future. Thank you.
这个问题我来回答。
Thank you for your question. Let me
改革
take
开
this
放以
question.
来，
Since reform and opening up,
北京、上
as
海、
you
深
said,
圳、
the
广
first
州
tier
等
cities, namely
以及其
Beijing,
他
Shanghai, Shenzhen, and
各
Guangzhou,
大城市、超大城市，经济都
as
是
well as
大
other
幅增
major
长，
cities, have
人
seen
口呢
rapid
明
economic
显地增
growth
加，开放不断
and
扩大，
rapid population
社
growth.
会事业蓬勃发展，已经成为中国
And these
经济
cities
增长
have
的重
become
要引擎。
important engines for China's
对外开
economic
放的
development,
重要枢纽
important
和
hubs
国家
for
治理的
opening up,
重要支撑，
and important
也日
support
益成为
for
人民
national
安居
governance.
乐业、
They have
享受美
also
好生活的重要
become
空间载
important
体。
places for
同时
people to live
在
a
这些
better
城市
life.
里，
At the same
存在着
time,
交通拥堵啊，
we are
房价
seeing
高
some
企
challenges
发
increasing,
展受限
including
等世界
traffic jam,
各国
high
普
housing
遍存在
price,
的
and
城市病。
limitations for city
大
development.
城市病，
And these problems are also
这些呢
common
都
in
是
other
发展中的问题
countries.
前进中的
These
困
are
难，
growing
成长
pains,
中啊烦恼。你刚
and
才
we
还
will
提到
work
在
hard to
养
address
老、
them.
社保方面，
You talk about elderly care
应
and
该说啊，在
social
这两个
support.
方面啊，一线城
As
市
a
啊
matter of
总体
fact,
水平啊，
In
并
these
不
two
差
fields, the first-tier
几
cities
个
have
一
done a
线
good
城
job.
市人均期望寿命啊，
The average life
80岁以
expectancy
上都是中国
are
最高
all
的
over 80
名列
years
各类城
old,
市的前茅。当
one
然，
of
在
the
这方面需要改
some
进
of
的
the
是
highest
要
among the
控制
Chinese
这
cities.
个成本，改善服务。
Having said that, we need to further
那么
improve
“十四五”规划
services in
纲要
these
呢，
fields.
对
In the
于
14th five-year plan,
完善城镇化空间
we've
布
made
局，优化提升
specific
超
arrangement
大、特
to
大城
improve the
市
spatial
中心
layout
城市
of
城区的功
urbanization
能，
and further strengthen the
进行了规划
functions
部署。
of the city centers of
有
these
以下几个
super
要
big
点：
cities.
一是促进
Number
超大
one,
特大城市高质量
we will
可持续发展，
ensure the sustained
统
and
筹
high-quality
兼
development
顾经
of the
济
major
生活
cities. We will
生态
focus
安全
on
等多元需要，
economic
推动
development,
超大
people's
特大城
living
市
standards,
转变开发建设方式，加强
and we will
城市
also
治理
transform
风险防
the
控，
development
坚
model
持人民城
of
市、
these major
人民建
cities.
人民
We
城
will
市为
ensure
人民，
that the
深入
cities
把握
are
城市
for
发
the
展
people
规律，
and by the people.
统筹发展和安全，
We
切实
will
推动
coordinate
城
both
市发
economic
展
development
方
and
式从规
security.
模扩张向内
and
涵
change
提升转变。
The growth model
更加注
of the
重民
major
生，
cities, we will focus
稳步
more
提
on the
高
quality
社保
of
水
public
平，提
services,
升
including
城市
elderly
治理
care
现代化
and
程度，
social support.
使
We will
城市
also
更
further
健康、
modernize the
更安
cities
全、更宜居。
so
同
that
时，
the cities
进
will
一步
become more
强
livable
化超
and
大
more
城市
healthy.
特大城市的中心
At
辐
the
射
same time,
作用，
we will
不
better
断优
leverage
化经济发展的空间格局，
these cities
实现
and drive the
区域协调
development
发展，
of the neighboring areas.
更好地带动乡村振兴，促进城乡
We
融
hope
合发
that
展。
the major cities can help
二是
promote the
合理
development of the
降
rural
低
areas.
超大特大城市
Number
开发
two,
强度和
We
人口
will
密度，
properly
要
reduce
科学
the
规划
development
城市生
intensity
产生活生态
of the
空
major
间，
cities.
有序疏解中心城区
We
一般
will
性制造业、
Better
区域
design
性物流基地、
the
专
production,
业市场
living, and
等
ecological
功能和
spaces
设施
of the
以及过
cities.
度集中的公共资源， 加强城市治理中的风险。
We will also better
比如
prevent
北京呢
risks
将立足
in
全国
urban
政治中
governance.
心、文化中
Beijing
心、
will build
国际交往中
itself
心、
into a
科
national
技創
political,
新中心
cultural,
功能地
international
位，
exchange,
建設
a
和
high-tech
諧、宜居、
center.
美麗
It
的
will be
大國
built
首都，
into a harmonious,
同時以
livable,
非
and
首都
beautiful,
功能世界
beautiful
為核
capital
心，
city.
推動
Meanwhile, we
京
will
津
also
冀
relieve
協同發
Beijing
展，
of the
向更
non-essential
高水平邁進，
functions as a capital
加強
city.
京津冀
And in this
及周
process,
邊地
we will
區
strengthen
空
the
氣質量
coordinated
監測
development
和
of
聯防聯
Beijing,
控，
Tianjin,
發
and
揮
Hebei,
北京
and
科
better
技創意
control
優勢，
the air
帶動
pollution
經
in
濟
these areas.
傳統，京就是天津了，基
And
礎文化
upgrade
傳統行業
the
改
development
造
of
升級，
Tianjin
提升
and
對周邊地
Hebei
區的輻射帶
and
動
drive
作用。
the development of the whole
三是
neighboring region.
優化
Number
提升
three,
超大
we will
各大
continue
城
to
市核
strengthen
心競爭
the
力，
core
增
competitiveness
強
of the
全
super
球
big
資源配
cities.
置，科
We will
技
strengthen
創新
their
策
functions in
源，
global
高
resource
端產
allocation,
業引領功能，
high-tech innovation,
率先形成
and
以現代
high-end
服務業
industrial
為主體、
development.
先
These
進製
cities
造
will
業
take the
為支撐的
lead
產業結
in
構，
building
提升
modern
綜合能力
services
與
and
國際競爭力。
sophisticated
比如
manufacturing,
上海
and they will
將
further
提升
strengthen
城
their
市能集
international
合核心競
competitiveness.
爭力，
For example,
發
in
揮帶動
Shanghai,
作用，以
we
強
will
化全
further
球資
make
源配
further
置、
steps
科技
to
創
ensure
新策
that
源、高
Shanghai
端產業引領、
can
開
become a
放
better
樞紐
city
門
for
戶
global
四
resource
大功能
allocation,
為引領，
high-tech
不斷
innovation,
推動
high-end
國際
industrial
經濟、
development,
金融、
and
貿
opening
易、
up
航
hub.
運和
And
科技
it
創
will
新
continue
5
to
個中心
be
能集躍
an
升，
international
為
economic,
長三角
financial,
高
trade,
質量發展和
navigation,
參與
and
國際
innovation
競
hub.
爭提供服務，
Shanghai will
引
provide
領長
services
三角
for
一
the
體
Yangtze
化
River Delta
戰略的實
to
施。
get integrated into international
的發展。
competition.
又如，深圳将以建設
And
中國
for
特色社會
Shenzhen,
主義
it
先
will
行示範
continue
區為
to
引領，
be built
建設
into a
綜合性
pioneering
國家
demonstration
科
zone
學中
for
心，
socialism
加快
with
推進
Chinese
前海
Chinese
河套等
characteristics.
粵港重大
We
合
will
作
build
平台，
comprehensive
在
national
粵港澳
science
大灣
center
區
in
規劃銜接
Shenzhen.
機
We will
制
also
對
build
接方面
Shanghai
先
and
行先
Hertao
試，
and other
以充分
Guangdong,
發揮
Hong
深圳
Kong
在大灣
cooperation
區建設中
platforms.
核
We will
心
harmonize
引
the
擎作用，
use and
輻射
mechanisms
帶動
in the Greater
周
Bay
邊地區
Area
加快發展。
and ensure
廣
that
州
Shenzhen
也
can
將發
help
揮在
drive
大
the
灣區
development of
建
neighboring
設中的
areas.
重要
The
作用，
same is true for
推動完
Guangzhou.
善廣深港、廣珠澳
We
科
will
技創新
promote
走廊
the
等。
development
謝謝你。
of the corridor of Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, and Zhuhai in science development. These are my answers. Thank you. Next question, please.
谢谢主持人，人民日报记者。
Thank
我
you.
们这些年
With
感觉
People's
到，大家
Daily
在感觉到这个物质生活进步的同时呢，
As
同时也感
people's
觉到精
material
神生活
wealth
有了很
has
大的改
increased,
变。
people's
那么
cultural
请问
life
您如
have
此如何
also
评价？那么下一步呢？
improved.
我
What is
国
your
将
comment
采
on
取哪
that?
些政策
What
举
measures
措
will be
以满足
adopted
人民群
to
众日益
meet
增长的
people's
精神文化需
increasing
求？
cultural
那如
needs?
何使老百
And
姓
how
的
to
精神文化
make
生活呢
people's
更加丰富、
cultural
更加
life
精彩？
even more colorful? Thank you.
好，我来回答您的问题。
Let me take your question.
首先回答这几年这个精神文化生活方面有什么变化？
What are the changes in our
我们
cultural
讲
life?
中国的全面小康，它是
Moderate prosperity in China
和精神文明
is
协调发展的
a
小康。
prosperity marked by both material and cultural wealth. It means
也
that
是
people's basic
知
needs
节民荣辱。
or daily needs are met,
在全面建设小康
And at the
社会的
same time,
进程中啊，
people
中国
are
人
able to
不
enjoy
仅在物质上
cultural
富了起
lives.
来，而且在精神
That is
上
to say that in the
强了起来
process of building
精神文化
moderate
生活方面的
prosperity,
变化
Chinese people are not just enjoying material
文化
wealth,
事
but
业
also
全面繁荣，
better
文化产业
cultural
快速
lives.
发展，人民群众的精神文化生活更加丰富，更加活跃。一
People's
是
cultural
精神
lives
文化产品不
are
断丰富
richer and more
图
vibrant.
书出版、
First,
广播影视、文学、艺
there are more
术、
products
哲学、社会科学等领域，
books,
可以说精品力
broadcasts,
作不断涌现。人民
movies,
群众
TV
多层次
series
多样化的
etc.
精神文化需求
are
不断
emerging,
得到满足。
meeting people's diversified
文艺创
needs
作
in their
这个
cultural
等等
lives.
各方面都有很大的进展。我这里呢，想这个说一下这个图书，
I would like to
图书出
talk
版
mainly about
现
books.
在应该讲加强了
Publication
优
of
质内容
books.
的供给。精
On
品图书越来越
publication,
多
we are
现在全民阅
providing
读活动
higher quality products,
目前中国
encouraging
成年国民
the whole
综合阅读
population
率
to read
达
more.
到81.3%。再比如
The rate
讲讲
of
电影，
reading
这几年中
among
国电影快速发展，
adults, Chinese
全国
adults
电影
reach
的银幕已经达
81.3%.
到8万块。
China's
这个数量在全
movie
球
industry is also growing
在第一位。
rapidly. We now
电
have
影创作
80,000
也可以说是高质量发展。
movie
像我和我的
screens.
祖国、金刚餐啊、革命者、
There are
流浪
high quality
地球等等
movie production.
都属于
For instance, My
既
People,
叫好
My
又叫
Country,
座的，
My People, My Homeland, The
也在不断
Sacrifice,
涌现，
The Wandering Earth,
电
etc.
影的
All
票
these
房
are highly
收入
popular.
也在逐年增加。
Box office
我们在2018
revenues
年
are
首
also
次突破
increasing.
600亿元
In
大关，
2018, for the first time ever,
2019
box
年
office
达到
surpassed 60
642
billion RMB yuan, and in 2019
都属
it
于
reached
处于世界第二位。这两
64.3
年受
billion
疫情的
yuan,
影响，全球这个都下来了，
taking the second place
票
in the
房收入
world
都下来了。
in 2020. Since 2020,
受
around the
疫情影
world,
响我们的
box
总
offices
体的
are dropping.
收入
However,
是超过了204亿，
last year
在全
alone,
球现在列第
China's
一。
box offices
今年1到8月
has surpassed 20 billion RMB yuan.
320个亿啊，达到了
And
328亿，
This year,
继续
by
位列第一。
August
所以这反映了
31st,
这个精神文化
revenue
方面的一种变化。
have surpassed
二是公共文
32.8
化
billion
和
RMB
标
yuan.
准
This
化
is
均等
it.
化
It makes
不断
China.
增强，建立起了覆
It
盖
gives
城
China
乡
the
的
top
60
position in terms of
公共文
box
化设施
office.
网络。到去
We
年
are
底
also
全国共
providing
有公共图书馆
Public
超过
services.
3200个，
We
博物
we
馆
have
超过5700个，
over
美术馆
3,200
超过600个，文化馆
libraries,
超过3300个，
over 5,000
乡镇综合文化
museums,
展
over 600 art
超过
galleries,
32000多个。春节综
cultural
综合性的
stations
文化服务中
over
心达到57万
32,000
5000个，
cultural service centers at the
而
village
且
level
公共图书
have
馆、
reached
博物馆、美术馆基本实
have
现或者
surpassed
免费，或者是低价开放。
575,000.
还有更多的
These
高标准
libraries,
的文化
museums,
设
and
施
art
正
galleries
在
are open
建
to
设
the public for free, either
三
for
是
free
文
or
化和
at
体育、
a
文化
low
和旅
cost.
游融合发展
Third,
也取得了新
we
的
are
进
making
展。
progress in the integrated development of culture and tourism.
这个旅游啊，很重要
Let me
的
address.
是要有
tourism.
钱和有闲的
It
结
is
合，
important
现
people
在
need to
越来
have
越
both
多的人
savings and leisure
能够做
time.
到有钱有闲，
Many
说走就
of
走
our，people
成
can
为现
plan
实，
for a trip as they
诗与
wish,
远方触手可及。人
enjoying
们
the
在旅游
beautiful
中
sceneries
领略大
in
好河山，感悟中国生活。
across China.
就以19
In
年
2019,
19年我们国内旅游涉
Domestically
及到游客总人次超过60
over 6 billion trips
旅游收
have
入
been made within the country,
达到5.7
contributing
万亿。
to 5.7 trillion RMB yuan
精神文化生活方面的变
tourism
化，还
revenue.
同时表现为国家的发展
At the
强
same
大，
time,
精神文
the
明建
growth
设的持续
of
推进，深
China
刻改变了中国人民的精神面貌，
have profoundly
也显著
changed
增
the
强
cultural
了中
life
国人
of the
民
Chinese
精
people
神力量。
and have strengthened the mental
从100
power
年前
of
受
the
奴役
people.
受压迫，到现在
A century
可
ago,
以
the
平视
Chinese
世界。
people were
中国人
were
民
still
的
being
精神面
oppressed,
貌
but
发
now
生由内而
we
外
can
的
look at the
深刻变
world
化。
on an equal level.
道路自信、
Profound
理论自
changes
信
have taken
制
place,
度
I
自
would
信
say.
文化自信
We have
极
greater
大增强
confidence in our path,
爱国主义
theory,
精神、
system,
改革
and
创新
culture,
精神、新时代奋
patriotism,
斗精神广泛地
reform-minded
到弘扬，孝
reformism,
亲敬老、敬
and
业乐
endeavor
群、
in
扶
the
危
new
济困、
era
扶
are
正
being
扬善、
carried
见义勇
forward.
为等中华优秀传统
Traditional
文化
Chinese
传
values
承
such as respecting the
全社会
old, loving
可以
our
说是
jobs,
充满
helping the weak,
向上
and
向
championing
美
justice are also being carried forward. I would say there is greater positive energy across the
今
society.
天，中国人民的开放意识、创新意识、
The
规则意识
open-mindedness,
市场
innovation,
意识等现代观
rules-based
念
and market-based mindset of the Chinese people are being reinforced. A healthier living standard marked by low carbon consumption has become a social trend. In face of difficulties and challenges, the Chinese people are addressing or tackling these challenges and difficulties with tenacity. We are creating a miracle. Now, we are moving towards common prosperity, giving people greater expectations for a better cultural life. Common prosperity means both material wealth and mental power. On your second question, what do we need to do in the future? We need to stay committed to people-centered development, address unbalanced and inadequate growth. On 3 points, I would say, to make the products more broad-based, diversified, and of better quality, we will work to give people a greater sense of happiness in terms of their cultural life. Broad-based means we need to provide or establish a balanced and equal public cultural service system, strengthen cultural infrastructure, remove urban, rural barriers. Diversified means, in light of people's cultural needs, we will target different groups and meet their need. They are tailored through tailored, differentiated, diversified, and multi-tiered services. Better quality means that we will build higher quality, better brands, and create more works that can strike a chord with the public and that can be carried forward and be passed down to future generations. By doing so, we will ensure that people can enjoy higher quality cultural life. Thank you.
谢谢主持人日本电视网记者提问。在中国的少子化与老龄化快速增长的背景下
China is facing a rapid trend of the aging society. At the same time, there is a lower birth rate. What is its impact on China's economy? Can China still maintain moderate prosperity? In all respects, thank you.
Thank you. Let me take this question. In the 21st century, China's population structure and size have seen some new changes. We conducted the 7th national census last year, in which we got a comprehensive grasp of China's population structure and size and distribution. Generally speaking, China's population growth has somewhat eased, and the childbirth rate has somewhat eased as well. But meanwhile, we still enjoy great strength in the population and in our talents. As we gradually improve our population policy, China's economy and society will continue to enjoy solid support based on our human resources. Number one, the workforce is still rich, and the population dividends continue to exist. China remains the most populous country in the world, and the total population continues to grow. The workforce is still big. The workforce of the Chinese people and the people within the age range of 16 to 59 is we still have 880 million such people. And every year, over 10 million newborn. There are over 10 million
人
newborns.
口数量增长产生的红利
Population growth
仍然
have
存在，
delivered
劳
dividend
动力
to
资
the
源
country
仍然较为充沛，
and have ensured
为经济持续
supply
发
to
展
the
提供
workforce.
了
And in this
人口红利
way,
支撑。
our economic growth is solidly based.
二是人口的
Number
素
two,
质明显提
the
高，
quality of the population
人才红利
have
新的
increased
优势逐步显
significantly.
现。
We're seeing
过去
new
10年
strength in our
我国人
talents.
口受教育程度
In the
明显
past
提升
years, the education of our
2020
people
年
have
16
continued
至
to improve.
59岁劳动年龄人口平均受教育年限达到10.75年，比
Our
2010年
Education, the people have enjoyed over 10 years of education.
年。教育事业
In
10
2020,
年大发
which is 0.83 years
大
longer
专
than
及
in
以上
2010.
受教育程度人口2.08亿人，
College graduates in China are
劳动
about
年龄人口
200 million people,
达到
accounting for
23.61%，
23.61% of the total
大幅提
population
高了11.27
and
个百分点
11.27 percentage points higher than 2010.
就是上升了10个点，才翻了1倍了。
So the size of college graduates have almost
我国
doubled
经济
in
发
10
展
years.
方式加快转变，产
And
业结构
such
优化升级，
Development can help us promote economic
不
growth
断提高，
and
为
economic
经济高质
transformation.
量发展提
It
供
has also
新的
provided strong
人
support
才
for
红利
high
支
quality
撑。
development of the economy.
三是居民
Number
健康水
three,
平大幅改善，
people's
劳动力
health
资源
has
的
continued to improve.
条件优化，健康既是福祉，也是生
Health
产力。
is a kind of well-being. It is also productive. It also means
我国人口
productivity.
身体素质明显提高
The。Chinese people's health
2019
and average life expectancy have continued to increase. In 2019, our average life expectancy reached 77.3%,
中老年人的身
years
体状
old,
况总体
which
改
is
善
2.47 years older than in
很多人
2010.
呢，他这个已经
The
达到
health
了
of the
老
elderly
年
people
但是
have
身体素
also
质还是相当好
improved.
的。
A lot of elderly people are very healthy.
我国婴儿死亡率和孕产妇
In
死亡率
2020,
也分别下降
the infant and maternal mortality
10万
rates
分之16.9
reduced to 0.54% and 16.9 in every 100,000 people.
我国居民的健康水平
The health level of the
还
Chinese
是优
people
于中高收入国家的平均水平，
are better than the average level of the medium high-income country.
取得的这个成绩，
This shows the progress
这也为
of our health care.
经济持续发展提供有效的劳动力投入支持。
And the healthy people
同样是
means
人口，同样是劳动
greater
力
contribution
身
to
体健
our
康程度
economic
改
development.
善了，是有利于
As
劳动力
people are
资源
getting
发挥作用。
more healthy, then
四是
the human
少儿人
resources
口数
will
量和
become
比重
more
上升，
valuable.
新一代劳动力资源正
Number
在成长
4, our childbirth
单独二孩
policy have
全面二
delivered
孩政
sound
策实施以
results.
来，
We have adopted
我
the
国出
second
生人
child
口数量
policy,
明显回升，
and the newborns
第七次
have continued to
人
increase.
口普查数据
According to
显
the
示，
seventh
0
census,
至14岁的少儿人口的数量比
the number of
2010
children,
年增
which
加
means
了
the children between
3092
0 and 14 years
万人，
old, increased
比
by
重上升了
30
1.35
million
个百
compared
分点。
with 2010.
二孩生育率明显提升，
The
出
second
生人
child
口中
child
二孩
birth
占比
rate has
由
increased
2013年的
significantly.
30%左右
The share
上
of
升到
second child
2017
increased
年的
from 30%
50%。
in 2013
今年
to
国家
50% in
实施三
2017.
孩生育政策，
This year, we have
及配
adopted
套
the
支持
third
措施，
child policy
有助于
as well
促
as
进出生
supportive
人口
measures.
的增加，
And such
改
policy will
善
further
人口
help
年龄结构，
improve the
实
growth
现
of
人口
population
长期
and
均
population
衡发
structure
展。
and ensure the
谢谢。
sustained and steady development of the population.
还有不少人
Thank
在
you.
举手，我们再提最后2个问
The
题。
last two
前面
questions.
这位男士，
谢谢主持人。
Thank
澎湃
you.
新闻记者提问：
With the paper, Moderate prosperity means more active consumption and higher level and quality of consumption. Under the current economic conditions, how to ensure the steady growth of consumption and further upgrade consumption? Thank you.
Thank you. It's a very good question. You all have a keen interest in consumption. Over the years, the scale, our consumption is being scaled up with better qualities and more modalities. There is also an improving environment for consumption. People's multi-tiered, diversified needs are being met. In 2019, per capita consumption expenditure surpassed for the first time 20,000 RMB yuan. Consumption in the tertiary industry account for around 46%, 4.8 percentage points higher than 2015. Consumption contributed to 3.5 percentage point growth of GDP. For 6 years running, it has been the first driving force for economic growth, the top driving force, I would say. Since the onset of COVID-19, under the strong leadership of CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, relevant regions and departments seek to make progress while maintaining stability and coordinate COVID response and socioeconomic development. The resilience of China's economy is more apparent. In the future, as we move toward a new development pattern and continue to expand domestic demand, we will work to achieve common prosperity with a growing middle-income group. In that process, there will be more diversified products and modalities of consumption. I believe that the upgrade of consumption will continue unabated. The overall trend of the growth of consumption and the growth of consumption to meet people's need for a better life will not change. Going forward, while making relentless efforts to respond to COVID-19, we will continue to expand domestic demand. We will coordinate supply-side structural reform and demand-side management. We will tap the potential of consumption in 5 aspects. First, we will enhance people's ability and willingness to spend. We will establish a mechanism to ensure supplies. We will roll out relevant policies and measures to increase income and reduce burden of households. We will also create new steps to boost employment, redistribute income, and increase consumption. Second, we will provide better services and products. The expansion of consumption should be aligned with the goal of improving people's livelihood. We will build high-quality supply system in consumption, encourage companies to supply inexpensive and high-quality goods and services. We will continue to leverage the important roles of different events to promote brands, to boost consumption, and to facilitate online shopping. In addition, we will continue to convene the China International Import-Expo, Expo on international consumption goods, etc. By doing so, we will pull together high-quality consumption resources to meet medium high-end consumption needs of the Chinese people. Third, we will unleash the potential of consumption. We will cultivate new type of consumption, go along with the trend of consumption upgrade. At the same time, we will encourage the growth of new models and new modalities, promote integrated development of online-offline consumption. We will at the same time nurture leading companies in consumption. We will promote green consumption, and by doing so encourage green production. Hopefully, we will cultivate low-carbon consumption. Fourth, we will increase access of e-commerce and delivery services in the rural areas. We will establish a delivery system in rural area so that they can have access to e-commerce goods. We will also build brands, improve the standards of rural products and services. Fifth, we will improve the environment for consumption, strengthen the credit system and quality control system. We need to improve dispute settlement mechanism, shore up rules in the market, and build an environment that is safe and good for consumers. Thank you. Next question. Thank you, from China Daily. China is the second largest economy in the world and one of the most important engines. Last year, China is the only major economy registering positive growth. However, the global recovery is still unstable. In this context, what does moderate prosperity in China mean to the world? What opportunities will be presented to the world? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me take this question. China has completed the building of a moderately prosperous society. This means that the most populous country and the biggest developing country in the world have enjoyed economic growth and people's well-being. This in itself means a contribution, a huge contribution to world peace and development. At the same time, as we have achieved moderate prosperity, we have contributed strength to world economic recovery, and we have also provided our wisdom and strength for building a community with a shared future for mankind. Number one, as China has completed a moderately prosperous society, we have contributed to global poverty reduction. Since reform and opening up, 770 million people have been lifted out of poverty, accounting for over 70% of the world total. In 2020, we removed absolute poverty in China, and we achieved the poverty reduction objective of the 2030 agenda 10 years ahead of schedule. The 1.4 billion Chinese people have embarked on a new journey for fully building a modern socialist country, which is a landmark in human history. In recent years, global poverty has further worsened as a result of the pandemic and other reasons. Against such a backdrop, China's poverty reduction achievement has significantly reduced global poverty and injected confidence and strength to the world. Number two, China has contributed to world economic growth and recovery. From 2006, China has been the biggest contributor to world economic growth for 15 years in a row. And over the years, we have contributed over 30% to global economic growth. We have become a primary engine for global growth. In 2020, our GDP surpassed 100 trillion yuan. And in achieving this, in making such achievements, we have overcome a lot of difficulties. Last year, we were the only major economy achieving positive growth. And in the first half of this year, our economy grew by 12.7%. We're not only an important country to drive global economic growth and recovery, we have also contributed to maintaining the stability of global supply chains. China has been contributing hundreds of billions of facial masks, as well as numerous vaccines to other countries to help other countries fight the pandemic. Number three, as China has achieved moderate prosperity, we have created huge opportunities for the world. China is now the second biggest consumer market, the biggest trader in goods, the second destination of FDI, and the second source of FDI. As China strengthens efforts to build a new development paradigm with domestic circulation as the mainstay, and domestic and international circulations reinforcing each other, the market potential of China will be fully tapped, and we will be even more open to the world. We will create a bigger market, more valuable cooperation opportunities, and greater development space for the rest of the world. According to statistics, in the next 5 years, China will import 10 trillion US dollars of goods from the rest of the world. We will also make 550 billion US dollars of investment in the rest of the world. And this will create important opportunities for steady recovery of the whole world. Last but not least, as China has completed the building of a moderately prosperous society, we have found a new pathway for other developing countries to achieve a modern society. Thanks to over 7 decades of development, particularly in the past 40 years since reform and opening up, China has achieved major development in its economic development. China is now the second biggest economy in the world, and the Chinese people are enjoying a well-off life. And we have achieved the transformation to become a strong country. Now, we have achieved great miracles in economic development and long-term stability of the society. And such achievement has not only benefited the Chinese people, but also greatly improved the development level of the whole world. Starting from 2019, China's average GDP has been over 10,000 US dollars. This means that an increase of 1.4 billion people among the population with an average income of 10,000 US dollars every year. So the population of such income group has almost doubled thanks to China's efforts. China's moderate prosperity practices have provided new choices for other countries that want to achieve greater development while maintaining independence. Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank all the speakers and all the journalists so much for this press conference. Thank you. Bye-bye.